Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm the Gentleman and welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Pixel Club. If you enjoy our content, please subscribe on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter and you can follow me on TikTok. All of those domains have slightly different content, but please follow along. On the MiSTer FPGA that I've got sat inside this Amiga, we are playing Angels. And Angels is a game that is on 128K Spectrum and it's by Zosia Entertainment. I hope I've pronounced that name right. It's a Russian company, so I if I've butchered your name, I do apologise. There was a slight intro going on here, which talks about ancient photographs that have become a sensation from a monastery, and we got little pictures of these little girls in these pod that you see here at the moment. That reminds me very much one of the ones that Supergirl and Superman left kryptonite on. However, these ladies have been sent to Earth to fight crime in punishment because they've clearly been naughty girls on whatever planet they come from, and here they are, far away on that planet. And I love some of these new Spectrum games you get. You have cutscenes, you get little animations, and these two ladies are being taken away for their sins. We've got a blonde-haired girl one and we've got a red-haired one, and they have little pods they need to go into, and now they've changed into what is clearly their battle armour. The plot makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but we're not here for the plot, we're here for the game. So these two angels have fallen to earth here, and this is the title screen, and we can have a one-player game, a two-player game, or we can define the keys. Because I'm using the MiSTer FPGA within an Amiga case using the Mistress IO board, I'm going to be using the physical Amiga keyboard for this, so we'll be defining the keys just now. And there's a few keys to use, and essentially up, down, left, right, fire and change. And what the change key does is it switches between the blonde haired angel to the red haired angel back to the blonde haired angel, so you can toggle them as you wish. They kind of basically switch, they teleport into each other. So essentially you've got two characters here. And another opening animation. Look how great this is. Yes, there's some terrible stuff going on with violence towards that lady who looks like her bag's about to be robbed, but there's a gentle pause as the two angels come down behind the fence, and they're here to fight crime. This is my first playthrough of this, and I looked at this and I thought, yes, 8 lives, this is going to be absolutely easy. I toggled immediately to the red-haired angel by hitting space just to see what happened, and that's where I noticed they teleport to each other. And if you look on the bottom right hand side of the screen, you've got P1 above the red-haired angel's head. When we go to the blonde angel, you hit space to toggle again, and that will then appear on the left. If you like this game and you enjoy what you're seeing, and it has only just started, I appreciate there is more to go, and this is a really long level, but bear with me on this because something really interesting happens as soon as you get to the end of this level. I was not expecting this. I went and read the information about the game afterwards. I thought, okay, perhaps I should have been expecting this, but up until that point I wasn't. And this isn't a hook to keep you in the video. This game changes the genre of what it is at the moment, because you are looking at a beat 'em up game and then you become something else. It changed to something else. Anyway, the URL for the company that created this is on the bottom right hand side of the screen. I've just hit space to toggle to the blonde haired girl, and then I picked up that potion, that health, which I should have done while she had the redhead hair, because that would have given her more health. So fighting away at these characters, and the first thing that struck me when I saw this game is it reminded me of RoboCop. The chunky sprites, the big sprites, but obviously a lot better. RoboCop was by Data East on the Spectrum, and it was very, very much a monochrome game. But this here, you've got big, healthy graphics, pretty graphics to have a look at as well. And it just stunk of RoboCop to me, and not stunk in a horrible way, in a really positive way. And especially when that guy with the skateboard went by as well, because on RoboCop, in one of the very, very early scenes, you've got a guy that comes by on a motorbike, and it was very, very similar to that. I'm headed to space at the moment, watching them toggle as I move on to the other bad guys to fight. But this is quite a hard game to play. The controls are not complicated, although I do kind of forget how to do the flying drop kick as we go later on into the game. But the graphics are so pretty. The colour clash in a lot of respects is made maximum use of. Look at those lights on that building that we've got behind us. This really is nice. We've seen some great effects on recent Spectrum games. You've got the Manic Miner, the Shamrock edition, which is done by High Rise, and he's done some really interesting things with this, and there's already a video of that on the channel. But this looks so great, and they mask a lot of the colour clash by having a little border around the characters, so it really does look perfect. The design that's gone into creating what you see, who you see, and what they're doing here at the moment, is absolutely astonishing. The minds that some of these people have. Now, hopefully, I will pick up the potion, and you see here, the blonde girl's health has filled up where before it didn't, because she had maximum health when I picked this up. And there's another skateboard guy. I do like those, and you can knock him off the skateboard, as I managed to do there. And did you see the skateboard go flying on at least the one that got knocked off? The attention to detail is really good. And when I speak of attention to detail, watch between the buildings, have a look to see whether you get a car driving in the background, because things are happening in the background, because you've got a New York. There you go, you see the lights of the car, but those lights actually reflected against the building as well. You've got the New York backdrop behind you, and what you've just seen is something I managed to do and wasn't quite sure how with the fire button. There was a little bit of fire that came out of the girl's punch, and it seems to be that you have a super weapon when you're fully charged, and apparently you have to hold down the fire button that I found afterwards. But there's a little bit more to that, and I haven't quite got the hang of that, and I never quite get the hang of that in this game. I'm punching a lot of bad guys on the right hand side of the screen at the moment, and I'm thinking, well, this must be the end of level. Look at those steps there. There's going to be a big boss, there's going to be something here, especially because there's an influx of bad people running down those steps to attack us. And the beauty of this is very much like a tag team game as well, where if you remember maybe the Street Fighters or some of the other games where you can tag in an opponent, the way that you can tag in a different angel depending on what you need to be doing is just really good. Now, also worth mentioning, we've got 4 lives left, and the lives are carried between angels. So if I'm on the red-haired girl, and if I was to switch to her at the moment and lose all my life, then the life would go down to 3, but it'd be for both angels. So you're effectively juggling the health of 2 angels with the powers. And I'm struggling to do a little bit talking about, because I've just captured by the graphics. Even though I've played this and I know what's coming up, the graphics are phenomenal. This company has done a lot of other games as well. So Zosia Entertainment, you go to their website, you can buy box copies of some of them. I'm very tempted to buy the box copy of this when this comes out. I could buy all their releases, but I haven't got endless pots of money to do this. And the game is getting harder and harder, so we've passed those steps, which I thought was going to be the end of level here. And I'm now getting a beating handed to myself, and the enemies have started to bring weapons on as well. You may have noticed one of them carried a barrel that they threw on a moment ago. That didn't help my situation, and the heat is certainly being turned up here a little bit, and I'm thinking, am I actually ever going to get to the end of this level, or am I going to lose all my lives and have to play through again? Now, if I had to play through again, that wouldn't be a bad thing, but in a side-scrolling beat-em-up, I don't recall in a long time, if ever, playing anything that had such a large opening level. I cleverly jumped that barrel that gentleman threw down at me there and then, but managed to not get myself killed. But we're on very thin ground here, so I've got to make it to the end, and it seems to be continually scrolling to the right. And it's not a bug or anything else like this, it simply is, this is a big game. The fighting controls feel pretty fluid on it. I do have a bit of trouble doing some of the kicks and bits. It depends where you're facing, what position your character is, what it will do, depending when you hit the fire button on the move here. And keep an eye on that wall on the right hand side as it lights up, because that car went by. This is part of the problem of playing the game. You're too busy looking everywhere else at all these other things that are going on. But yeah, the controls are pretty fluid, pretty good to use. I've got a flashing bar above the one for my life, and look at the score below that. I'm on 480 odd points here at the moment, but look how high that goes. You must have serious abilities to be able to get anywhere near this, because you don't score very much for anything you do. And yet the level 1 continues. This is on the 128K Spectrum that we're playing this. There is a 48K version that has less cutscenes, less sounds, more loading. 128K you appear to load it all in one go. So this is what I've chosen to do here, and this game is freely available. If you go to the URL on the bottom right hand side of the screen, you can download this for free. You can play for free today, tomorrow, whenever you choose to. This costs no money, but I do believe in once in a while purchasing people from these indie developers, and as I say, when I've got a little bit more funds, if they do a physical release of this, I will probably be doing this. I see the weapons have changed a little bit here as well. They're carrying bats, and what I would have liked is this to be a bit like one of the other types of games where you can pick up the weapons, but that doesn't matter because we've got to the end of the level and it looks like we are now having to go to Italy. And this is where the game changes, because the girls landed in the pods, as you saw, and they kind of walked across the whole of the city and must have done a loop to get back to the pods, and now they're in the pods again. And this is where it turns into a shoot 'em up type game. You know, you can see them in their little pods flying through space, which is obviously clearly flying through the atmosphere of Earth to get to the other side. You know, there was an Enterprise type ship that I'm shooting there at the moment, and this wasn't as hard as I feared it was going to be, especially because I believe I only had one life left at the time of playing. You've got up, down, left, right and fire to shoot, so really it is just pummel the fire button. I screw up a little bit there where I get myself caught by these bad guys because I was too busy looking at the pretty effects in terms of how the ships get hit, change colours, and thinking, yeah, this isn't too hard. That I actually took my eye off the enemies for a moment. These little missiles I love. They reminded me so much of Mooncrester, where you've got one of the levels that all the missiles come down, and the waves of enemies are not getting particularly hard at the moment if you keep an eye on what you're doing, but they're getting a little bit more frantic. So this tells me that we are very likely heading towards the end of this particular level. I certainly at this point of plan was hoping it was not going to go on for as long as the first level. I like the beat 'em up on the first level, but I would rather be playing the fighting part of the game than this. And this boss here, this enemy here, is an enemy boss because it looks like it's in 3 parts here, and it would be very cruel of them. But something after this, you get a little well done flash up there, and then it's done. So that was a nice interlude. These ladies need to somehow put some of their clothes on because they've been told under their stay on Earth we cannot use people's weapons, they can only rely on their strength and dexterity. So this answers the question earlier on when I said I was hoping, or I briefly said before we went into the next part of the game, that I wish that they had the bats they could use. You could pick up the weapons on the ground. This is why you can't. And look at this again, we're on no lives, 0 lives, so I'm toggling away to see the different angels, but the backgrounds have completely changed. So we are now in Italy fighting ourselves away, you know, fighting the enemies, and it looks just as beautiful as what New York did. And the animation for the main characters is great. The animation for everything is great, and they do something that you notice a little bit later on. They actually have a standing pause like that. So you know that was an accident to do there, and it's like, oh, you're not doing anything. They stand and they pause and they wait. At the moment I'm trying to do some kind of turn kick where you walk away from them and hit fire to do a swinging roundhouse kick to try and do a lot of damage. So I haven't quite figured out the controls, the best positioning to be doing everything, but I'm trying my best. So collect whatever that was. I collected, I think it was a battery, but it's hard to play because you're keeping your eye on effectively the parallax background that's scrolling behind here to see what they've done next. And you know, then this guy, look at this enemy, these Indiana Jones people, they're wearing their little hats, but they're carrying whips as well. Whips is not right because you know, they have a really good reach, and that was, oh bloody hell. But fortunately we have some health, so I toggle to the correct angel to use the one that's the weakest, pick up the health and continue my battle in Italy. You've got those lovely trees in the background as well. Those clearly aren't palm trees, but they are some kind of other tree. In fact, I don't even know, do you get palm trees in Italy? I'm not sure. But this is a really good, wholesome game. It would have done really well if we could have a time machine and this was released back in the days of the 128K Spectrum. This would have appealed to a lot of people, not necessarily because it's got ladies, the main characters that are posing there and just stood there, but it is a really solid game. And to think that we're getting this for free as I'm making them pose just to see what they both look like doing those positions is absolutely incredible. This company, if you go to their website, and I don't want to try and mispronounce their name again, has a selection of other games as well. So if you've enjoyed this, take a look at their website. You'll probably find lots of other good things to play. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm the Gentleman. This is the Gentleman's Pixel Club, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.
Would you like to play again?
Hello there, just me. If you're a subscriber to this channel, thank you very much. If you're not a subscriber, then Merlin here would be delighted if you would consider subscribing. It would make him happy, it would make me happy. And if Merlin's happy, then everybody is happy. Thank you very much. Stay safe, take care, goodbye.